So, hello everyone. Today I'm joined by Andy Dowse from the Serenity project, and like usual on Barton FM and on my programme Everything Barton, really like to get to know a bit about you, Andy. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Okay, I'm Andy Dowse. I'm always lived in Barton. I'm early 40s. After a period of time, for the predominant part of my working career was in the fire service. I now work in mental health, in the often a traumatic side of mental health. I deal with people that sadly want to take their own lives, so I deal with that side of things. I'm married with I have 5 of my own children and I've got a stepdaughter. So
wow,
busy family life.
Yeah.
And yes.
Well, that takes us nicely onto the Serenity project. So, tell us where this idea came from and sort of how it became to be.
Okay. Well, with my work in mental health, I was looking for somewhere. So I wanted a serenity area, so people who are anxious, depressed, isolated, initially could come there, a place that feels safe and neutral. To come along and sort of unwind and relax and meet new people and do something just to take their mind off whatever problems are on their mind.
Yeah.
And that's why there's been studies to prove that working with animals is very productive in mental health. So I started looking for some land back end of the last year, beginning of this year. We initially come across a bit of land kindly then given to us on Falcon's Way on a lease to where we have some chickens. So we've got 100 chickens, which was the first part of getting the project off of the ground, and there's still a lot of work to do there.
Yeah.
We then come across, which was a much larger area of land down on Waterside Road, which allowed us to really put into place the plans I had. So on site now, we have some piglet. We have 8 piglets, which I'll come on to in a second. Of that we have 3 sows, which are three big pigs.
Yeah.
We have around 20 of the chickens that were at Falcon's Way that have now moved down here initially. Over time, a lot of the chickens will stay at Falcon's Way because they're next to the kids' nursery, so the kids are quite involved in their care and looking after them, and that's good for the education side of the project, which I'll come on to. And we've also got 3 goats down here at the moment. So there was a lot of clearance to do on the site. Volunteers that we've had have been absolutely fantastic, and the animals we've cleared in a rather organic way. So the animals, particularly the goats, like with the brambles, the goats will eat the leaves, and then we take away with the twigs, and then the pigs will dig the roots up. So organically, the site is getting cleared very well, and then we can start to mark out our proper areas for that.
Great stuff. So, what's the future plans for the site, and sort of what are you hoping to sort of achieve by having the Serenity project? Okay,
so we would like people to feel at ease to come down here and volunteer. So people that are either a little bit anxious, a little bit isolated, to come down and try new skills, because what we will have is we'll have some growing areas, so there'll be the opportunity to grow our own vegetables, which will ultimately be sold to help fund the project. Yeah. We'll have the animals to look after, so that comes down to animal husbandry, looking after the animals, what to feed them, and ultimately what not to feed them, how to clean them out, what their housekeeping and general husbandry tasks are for each specific animal. So we want people really of all ages from, and although I say mental health, we're not just focused on that, because we want people that want something to do, and almost as a preventative to mental health. So people that are moping around and got nothing to do on an evening or nothing to do in the day and got a bit of time to kill, to come down and do something productive. So by coming down and helping with the animals, or as the community progresses this project forward, people can look back and think, wow, I achieved that, and instead of sitting at home moping over something, I've done this. We also have now some inclusions, some other so we've got some special needs children And we've got a couple of people who have got things like dementia who come down with their carers. We've got a couple of disabled people who come down, and as time goes on, our site will be more wheelchair accessible. So it's about making their life and their life skills more meaningful. So instead of just sitting around and doing nothing, coming down here, helping out, clearing bits, watching the animals, helping feed the animals. The other big part of the project, which we'll come on to probably next more spring, is more the education side. So particularly children and some way young adults. So we want to teach them about origins of food and sustainability. So where does vegetables come from? How do you grow vegetables? Where does your meat come from? So we've got the pigs. Where does your sausages, your pork joints come from? Where does your chickens? Where does your eggs? And on about the husbandries of those. So yeah, we can learn about vegetables, where they come from, how you grow them. Equally on the animal side. So how do we look after them? What food do they eat? What food don't they eat? What sort of housing do they live in? How do you clean that out? What do you do as a daily care? What do we need to do when something goes wrong with animals and they spotting them telltale signs? So it's almost a community working farm where members of the community don't necessarily just come to look around and see the animals, but actually get hands-on and helping us. So as we progress forward, and the pigs, for example, are an income stream. As a project, at the moment with no funding, we need to make that sustainable so we can carry on providing this service. And the best way of doing that is to practice what we preach. So the piglets we got are being fattened up and they will be sold off for pork and sausage. So that's an income stream that comes back. The vegetables, as and when they're grown, will come back. We've got the male goats at the moment. We're just in the process trying to find some female goats. And then over the period of time, we'll then be able to do goat milk, which comes on to some of the associated, either selling it as a raw milk, or more importantly, what we're looking at is doing things such as goat milk soap, which is good for skin allergies and eczema and things like that. So again, volunteers from all walks of life. We've got a couple of volunteers that are not interested in animals, not interested in growing, but particularly interested in making craft things, making the soap, making things out of wood. So there is a wide range of options here for people to fulfil their destiny, if you like, in what they like doing.
So yeah, let's talk a little bit more about the animals you've got then. So what animals have you got currently, and what are the plans for the future?
Okay, so we have the three big pigs, the sows.
Yeah.
So they're 5-year-old. We took care of them very recently, and that's very, very important. Maybe say at the moment. So Lavelles in Barton very kindly made us a donation to spend on what we see or saw fit. So that money has actually got spent on the pigs. So the 3 pigs that we have are of the courtesy of Lavelles. So they are our breed stock. So they've actually all 3 come to us pregnant, which was a bonus. We didn't totally know that at the point when we looked around to purchase them. So they will be kept. And one important thing actually on site is, because we don't want to create an attachment to animals that are going to go into the meat system, into the food system, animals on site are given a name if they are going to be here over a long period of time. So all of the goats, the sows, chickens could be named, but really we've got 100 chickens, so the kids name them, but we've not got official names for those. Anything such as the piglets will remain nameless, just to try and stop that association.
Yeah. So
those sows will be producing piglets, which will either get sold as piglets later on the line to other farmers, or will be go back into our rearing system for income generation. And ultimately, it's about, for me, knowing where your food's come from. We talk about sustainability. Now we've got pork joints in the supermarkets. You don't really know the origins of where that's come from and what conditions they have been kept in. The piglets that we purchased were bred from day one to be in the food system. So we've bought them and they're here. They'll be fed on a nice diet, which is predominantly a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables. They've got a lot of land to run around and root on, and they're given quite a lot of affection during the day and plenty of belly scratches. So during the life that are with us, it will be, I hope, quite fulfilling for them.
Yeah.
The flip side is those same piglets could have been picked up and gone to a farm where they lived in a barn for 6 months, with the only human access with the person that's feeding them every day. So that's animals' destiny.
Yeah.
Whether that's in everybody's sort of views or not. So we will carry on with that. So we have the piglets, we have the chickens. We'll be rearing some of our own chickens. So there'll be probably maximum of about 200 chickens on site. That gives us the possibility of keeping them for the egg, so we can keep our egg production going. It also gives us the possibility of selling those chickens at a point of lay stage, so we can rear them as chicks and sell them again as an income for people and keep them themselves. One of the other options we've looked at is to get people here to run like a husbandry course. So you learn how to look after a chicken, and then we will help you build, through the other volunteers, a coop. Then you can buy one of, or not one because they don't live alone, but as you could buy a couple of our chickens to take home to look after at your home. So you're kind of almost learning from us and then taking it on board to have chickens yourself. It's a little bit more difficult to keep a pig in your back garden than it is a chicken in your back garden.
Fantastic.
And the goats, I forgot to say. So we have in terms of going forward, there's no plans to get any more pigs, because we've now got the sows which will produce our own piglets.
Yeah.
And over the winter period, the main reason we wanted the sows was to clear the land. We have a big area of land to clear that next year will be where we grow the vegetables, that at the moment is full of brick rubble and bramble roots, and would be very, very hard going without some big industrial machinery. Now these pigs are making light work of eating roots and digging brick rubble up. And the last bit was the goats. So the goats, we were looking for some females, and then we can breed them and then do goat milk.
Excellent. So, what sort of help are you needing from the community? Because you talked about getting people involved. What do you need from the community to move forward?
So at the moment in time, it's volunteer help. So people to come down and help us clear these brambles, help to come down and mark out these areas, come down and help look after these animals. Also to come and help on other sides, like admin side or promotion side, people that are maybe good at looking at funding, because what we do need to look at going forward is applying for some of the funding grants so we can push things forward much quicker. We have plans, once areas initially cleared for next year, to start building a farm shop, so we can sell our own produce on that farm shop. We can potentially have a bit of an on-site cafe, so people who are coming to help out have somewhere to have a cup of tea and a slice of cake. So at the moment it's more clearing and looking after the animals. As we go forward, we'll be looking at people who are potentially working the farm shop, working the cafe, people who are good at making things. So we've got a lot of pallet wood and a lot of scrap wood, and we will purchase some other bits. So we will be looking next year at building wooden planters, so then we can put the plants in that we grow to sell. So we've got craft people, so we've got people who can spin wool that we can potentially get from sheep into a product we can sell. The goat milk soap that we mentioned. So there's a whole host of different services, and also little things like electricians and plumbers. There's certain jobs that we can do ourselves. There's certain jobs that we can't, because you need to be specifically licensed for doing things. So we've got some cash to push some of the jobs forward, but if we could get some volunteers that are qualified in certain areas to help out, and we just provide materials, it would greatly help as well.
Super. So and finally, so you mentioned earlier about helping the members of the community. What's your target audience, shall we say, or what person would you look for to come down?
Okay, yeah. So it's a little bit. Our target audience is primarily where we started on the mental health. So people that are feeling anxious, people that are feeling depressed and isolated, people that are disabled and want to get out, people that have got perhaps special needs children. We have some children come down with autism, for want of an example on that. They come down to get involved in just watching the animals, feeding the animals, just to get them out of their house and trying to break that routine of boredom for them. We'll also look at, from next year, doing some children's clubs on crafts and gardening. So after school, maybe basic, how do you plant seeds, how do you grow your vegetables, how do the children get to grips with what an animal eats, what it doesn't eat, how to spot the telltale signs of an animal that's starting to feel unwell. We will, of course, be open for anybody, so if people want to come down with their families just to purely have a look round and see the animals, then that's more than okay. Although we perhaps need to sort of monetize that some way, because we are more looking at structured sessions on times over groups of people with a set target. So today, guys, this is what we want to achieve. Yeah. This is what we want to clear. This is the seeds that we want to grow, or these are the seedlings that we want to get in the ground. This is the chicken coop that we want to clear out. This is maybe the pig hut that we need to replenish its straw in. So designated tasks for certain areas, but also inclusion for people, because people may come round with a family to look at the animals and then think, wow, actually, now I've seen the site, I really want to get involved with this, and I want to give some of my spare time to help out.
Great stuff. And so, just finally, what would you say to someone who's thinking about getting involved? How would they get in contact? Should they?
Okay, so at the moment, the best way is through the Facebook group, or if people wish to come down, there's nobody here, is my phone number. So we have predominantly used Facebook through our own Facebook group and the page in Messenger, because it was just easy access to for the infrastructure we had. As we move forward, I'm well aware that there are people that don't use Facebook. Yeah. So we have a couple of volunteers who come down that don't have Facebook. So we have to kind of text or call them if we have any information, which is often the fall down, because we tend to advertise when we're open and when we're doing stuff on our group, and people don't always see that. So I'm very much open to ideas on how we can include more people, because one of the issues at the moment is opening times. Whilst I obviously work full time, so I come down as much as I can around my shifts to help out. I've got quite a lot of trusted volunteers now that I can trust with the keys to open up and do jobs when I'm not here. So as that volunteer base expands and there's more people that can manage the site in my absence, that means we can open it up to more and more hours and more groups.
Fantastic.
Because ultimately, I know I've heard comments that I perhaps shouldn't be doing so much and relying on volunteers when I'm at work. But until we get some funding in place, this whole project relies on me working to fund everything until we do get off the ground. And I was fully aware of that when I started the project, and it's a little bit, excuse the pun, chicken and egg. Yeah. The project needs money, which at the moment comes from me, to get it off the ground. Some of the funding systems we've looked at rely on us being running it for a period of time before they're interested in financially helping out. So everything is heading where we want to. But ultimately, for me, I didn't want it as my project, me doing everything. I wanted it as community involvement. I wanted people to get involved and feel they can get involved, which is importantly. We have quite a family community here now of people from all walks of life that have got all sorts of differing views and backgrounds, but when they're on site, they have a primary focus or a primary aim that they want to achieve on certain days, and they muck in and do that.
Excellent. So that's on Facebook. It's the Eco Serenity Project. Is that right?
Yes. So the Eco Serenity Project, or the Barton Community Farm. So if you search for either, it will bring up. The Eco Serenity Project is the official name. Yeah. If people remember it. Yeah. The Barton Community Farm is its nickname, if you like, or the more memorable name that can go with that.
Perfect. Well, listen, really, really nice to meet you, Andy. Thank you for joining us, and
Thank you,
I
Alex.
wish you all the luck in your projects and all the best.
Thank you very much, Alex, and I'll look forward to welcoming people on site. I love nothing more at the moment than showing people around and and show him what we've got. Although I'd say if anybody comes in the next few days, bring your wellies. It's somewhat muddy and boggy, and the pigs are doing a good job of doing what they're doing, digging things up, but it's somewhat soft underfoot.
Great stuff. Thanks again.
Thank you.